Today we have with us Advocate Gaurav Shukla sir. I, on behalf of Legal Law Forum, welcome you. I am a fourth year law aspirant and a contenting member of Legal Law Forum. It's an honor to have you here with us, sir. Gaurav Shukla sir is the co-founder and managing partner of MGS Advocates that has dynamic set of advocates working every day towards success-oriented results for their clientele. I, on behalf of Legal Law Forum, welcome you. Shukla sir is regarded as one of India's dynamic and thought-provoking counsel who has achieved great results for all the clients and known as the most coveted new age firms with afflux of time. His clientele includes distinguished lineup of the entertainment media and global organizations. He also represents and provides advisory and legal counseling services on an exclusive basis to various leading firms and digital production houses, corporate conglomerate, and so on. He is professionally skilled in intellectual property rights, media and entertainment laws, litigation, merger and acquisitions, and a lot more. Sir, now, with your permission, we shall get started with the interrogatory planner. So, shall we get started?
Please go ahead. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. The first question would be, sir, could you tell us about your journey of 5 years in your law firm?
Well, my journey has not just been, in the legal system. It started way back when I was in the first year of my law college. I have graduated from Ambedkar College, Nagpur. And while I was pursuing my LLB in the first year itself, I decided to join LPO industry and BPO industry in order to enhance my knowledge outside the legal realm and also to enhance my personality and the traits related to public speaking, interaction with different kind of people sitting across the globe, and also trying to understand the psyche as to how one thinks about a particular person when they are 1,000 kilometers away from them. I feel that it gave me an edge over other students from my college, because when they were busy just spending time in the canteen, I was actually making money and working with different professionals throughout the world. So I have worked in BPO and LPO sector for a very long time, approximately 4 years when I was pursuing my LLB. After that, my journey began in 2007, having a job with Mindcrest India Private Limited, which is a LPO based in Pune. I worked with them for 3 years, and then I moved to Mumbai. Worked in Mumbai for almost 11 years now. Initially, I was with Thomson Reuters, which was earlier called as Pangea 3, which is also an LPO based in Andheri. Post that, I entered into the entertainment and sports industry, and ever since then, I worked with artist management companies as their legal head. I worked with the biggest sports management company in the world, IMG, for 3 years. I worked with Balaji Telefilms as a second in command, while I was, also handling a lot of other clients. And currently, since last 5.5, 6 years, I have started my independent practice, because I come from a legal background. My 4 generations have been in this profession. So I have a very good backing when it comes to the legal profession. However, my journey has always been individual. I have always tried to build my own name without taking advantage of my family's reputation and their stature. And that what I feel everyone should do. And they should keep their parents and their family as a last resort when nothing is working. That should not be your first resort at all, is what I feel.
Yes, sir. Thank you. The second question, so you're saying something?
Sure. No, I'm not. Second question.
Okay. The second question would be, what challenges do a person from non-law background face as compared to who already has a law background?
I think apart from getting a cabin to sit, if your father or your uncle is a advocate, or getting certain references to get internships, or sometimes get an interview, not a job, but an interview. I think that's the only 2 things that I can see as having an advantage or an edge over people who are not from the legal background. I always feel that it is one individual who has to strive who has to have the knowledge to excel in this profession. And coming from a legal background or a non-legal background will not make much of a difference once the person enters the system. Because, for example, if you are from an XYZ college and you are applying to a lot of places for internships and jobs, but you're not getting any replies from them or any favorable opportunities from them, then you get disheartened. And if I have to say that people from the legal background who have references will get an interview, will get a call to attend the interview, and if they are good, only then they will be hired. Seldom I have seen that people who do not have good skill sets are hired because of a reference, because nobody in the right mind and in this current world will give you freebie. So getting a job just because on the basis of a reference, I think it's 1 in a 1 million chance that someone not in their right mind would do it, just because he is pressurized by his friend or relative or known or acquaintance, whatever you want to call it. But apart from that, it's your own individual skill set that will make you excel in this profession and no one else. People may mentor you, but it is up to you how you grasp it. If you cannot grasp it, I may or anybody else may give you 100 tips every day or a lot of knowledge on a daily basis. But if you can't grasp it, if you cannot put it into use and see how it applies to our profession, how any particular things are executed, whichever is being told to you, then I don't think it's of any use at the end of the day. So it's an individual. So it's a shout out to everyone that do not care about which college you come from, which city you come from, which background you come from, economically or intellectually. It is one individual who will make their own fate if they work in the right direction and have complete dedication and perseverance towards achieving what you wish to achieve, and have small time goals. Don't think that 5 years down the line I'll be a general manager in this company and I'll earn 5 lakh rupees. First start from 5,000 rupees at least and move up the ladder. There is no shortcut to success. I've always believed in that. And only the tough guys who can survive in such tough situations will excel to the extent that they wish to excel. Others may not be able to succumb to those particular hurdles that come in their professional life and give up very easily. They try to sidetrack from what they want to achieve because they cannot take the heat of the profession. But it's ultimately a very, very long journey that you have to cover throughout your life, and you do not ever think that if 2 years, 3 years I'm not earning that much money that my other colleagues or peers are earning means I am someone who's not capable of doing it. Everyone has their own time when they excel, when they get a lot of money or they get promotion. But consistently you have to work hard. You have to upgrade yourself on a proceed with it.
Totally agree with you, sir. Okay, then the third question. How would you bifurcate the legal fraternity?
There are a lot of new avenues that are opening. COVID has also been one of the factors now. But earlier, if you ask me 20 years before or 15 years before, there were only 2-3 options that were available for a law graduate. One, working in a corporate firm. Actually 4. One, working in the corporate firm. Second, going into litigation practice. Third, applying for judiciary. And fourth, being an academician, like an assistant professor or a professor. Time has evolved, and now you have legal writers, researchers, you have clerkships with high court judges and Supreme Court judges. You can also work with a lot of NGOs, be on their panel. You can also do a lot of social work along with doing work in your profession. Then You are seeing a lot of new journals that are coming, on our legal fraternity and the judgments that are being passed on every day basis throughout the country. So there are a lot of websites like Live Law and others who are posting, information about the current scenario and the proceedings that are happening on a day-to-day basis. So right now there are multiple options available with a law student, and the avenues are pretty interesting, I must say. I myself is not updated as to how entire machinery functions, because I don't have the time to research about it unless and until I'm individually entering into that field. But there are a lot of more options as compared to earlier times, and I feel that everybody should have that notion very clear about themselves as to where they stand in terms of skill sets and their interest, and they should pursue it and always have a B plan. If that doesn't work, then what? Don't get disheartened. There are hundreds and thousands and lakhs of things that you can do as a legal professional. So if you cannot get one entry into one particular stream, doesn't mean the life is over. It has just begun.
Great, sir. Then the fourth question. Why did you choose corporate world and not litigation?
Sorry?
The fourth question is, why did you choose corporate world and not litigation?
Well, initially, I used to see my father going to court every morning at 9:30, first to office and then court, and then coming back around 9:30, 10 in the night, and then we have an office in our bungalow as well. So he used to work till 2 and 3 in the night, and he used to earn certain money. But as far as a new graduate is concerned, I at that time felt that if I start practicing with him, first of all, I'll be a liability to him because I will not get any cases. Second, because I'm his son, he will have to involve me and give me certain cases to work on. That means the other team members who are more deserving than me will be the second chair, and I will be given a preference. And I've always believed that once you have achieved a particular age, you should not be dependent on your parents at all. It may not be, I would say, very correct on my part to say this, because now the students are paying a lot of fee in, getting good education and getting good mentoring, and they are coming up with brilliant results out of it. But this was my own individual opinion, because I had seen a lot of my friends who were from the same college and different colleges as well, who were struggling for the first 5 years, 7 years to even get one good brief which will make their name in the profession. Whereas I decided not to pursue this option and directly go for a corporate job, like an LPO job, because coming from my college, we never got any placements. We were never entertained for any internships, so I never applied. I didn't give much importance to it. I said I will achieve that particular result without going to office. I will do other things which will enhance my personality, because I was any which ways getting legal knowledge from the books that I was reading and the judgments that I was reading, the things that I was Googling at that time also. So I thought that I should not be a liability on my father, and I got an opportunity to work with the LPO at a very good position in Pune, because I was already in Pune at that time. Though I was coming to Nagpur only to give my exams. But apart from that, I was always in Pune working with BPOs. And then I got a job with the LPO even before I graduated. So I was very happy. I was getting a very good salary at that time. So I decided to pursue that. And I said what I was, thinking about. I was already presented that opportunity, that even before you graduate, you have a PPO kind of a situation. So why not take it and make your own name? That's why I never went into the direction of being a liability on my father, and I still believe in that. So working in corporates and with companies for around good 9-10 years, I then decided to start my independent practice, because my father is already a practitioner. We have our own team and offices in Mumbai. I thought that it's time for me to now get into the profession, because as you say, or as you see in the market, junior lawyers don't get paid much. Okay, only after a particular experience and number of years that you put into the profession, that's how you start growing. You would never want to go to a junior doctor or a young doctor who has just passed. You would always want an old doctor to go and take advice from, because you know that he has this experience, that he can give you the best medicines. Same happens with CAs as well. Same happens with a lot of professionals as well. And in our profession, the more you age, the more your fee enhances. So I thought it's the right time. I have the capability of handling transactions which are high value and low value as well, to handle them on individual basis, and I will be able to do justice with my client. And I've always conducted myself in a very professional like manner. I do not just take matters for the sake of taking it to earn money. If I see that the client may not get any redressal, or if the case will not have any standing in court of law, I normally do not give them the advice to file those matters or to serve legal notices, because conducting the profession and your personal life in a very dignified manner is, I think, the most important aspect of your personality. So that is what I've always believed. And of course, there's more work in litigation as compared to corporate jobs, because it's a fixed time of job. But having said that, nowadays, because of the responsibilities and because of the profile that you are in, you end up working for more than 10 to 12 hours, even in a corporate job. And there is constant pressure for the next day. But now it's time for me to make money on my own and not be dependent on anyone for a salary, because a salaried man is always struggling after 20th of every month. I've seen that. आप कितना भी कमा लीजिए, 20 तारीख के बाद में आपको पैसे कम ही पड़ेंगे, because you enhance your lifestyle like that.
Great, sir. Then, shall we take the next question?
Please.
What should the interns need to adhere to while applying for internship in a corporate firm?
First, you need to be very honest. You should not put anything in your CV about which you do not know. Just because you have seen someone else's CV and it looks impressive to you, doesn't mean that you should copy the same CV or the same terminologies and put it in your CV. Whatever you have done, whether it is very limited to only one subject matter, please put only that. Because the moment you put something, and when the interviewer asks you a question and you can't answer it, then you yourself become so nervous, because he has already judged you that you do not know it and you have put it. So whenever I see any CV that comes to me, I see certain aspects that how many internships has he done. And for me, someone who has done internships in one particular field for a long time is preferable than someone jumping the ship every now and then. Because one field of our profession takes 10 to 15 years for someone to call themselves as a specialized in that field. So how can someone in 1 month and 2 months internship, when I know what happens in internship normally, that you are not assigned very, very high value or very important work. Mostly it's assisting job wherein you're doing research or you're doing certain other, administrative work with the seniors that you are reporting to. I wouldn't call it as clerical, because it's not clerical. You have to learn those administrative related aspects of the work as well. Like taking a printout, formatting the document properly so that it can be filed in court. The document should be proper. Or if it's a contract, then the numbering of the clauses in the contract should be correct. The format should be correct. The font should be correct. You cannot have Times New Roman 12 in the first 4 pages and then have Calibri body 11 in the remaining pages. So you have to see all these small aspects as well. So whenever you are drafting a CV, try to put as much as information that you have worked on. What are your important skill sets that you feel that you have learned during your internships? What all matters have you handled? What all paper publications you have done, but in a nutshell. And be thorough with it. when you're appearing for an interview, you should not say, 4 साल हो गए, 3 साल हो गए, I forgot about it. I still remember my first contract that I drafted 17 years back, because that's how a lawyer's memory should be. And if you cannot know your own, cases, facts, then it is very difficult for the other person to have that impression or have that confidence in you that you will be able to justify to the position that you are being offered. And then they have the second thought. Also, one very important factor that I don't see, or very important aspect that I don't see in CVs these days, is telling about your personal attributes as well. Things like hobbies, what are your areas of interest, sports related thing. Because when you're hiring someone, anybody can mug up the answers and write it in the answer sheet, and you can have a very good theoretical knowledge, but an employer is also seeing how that individual's personality is. What all has he done in his own personal life? Whether he likes to sing, whether he likes to write, whether he likes to blog, whether he likes to read, whether he's a sports person, not a sports person, what is his family background, and all those factors are also very important. Making a CV of 6 pages when certain important informations are not provided, then it's only your academic, involvements and academic qualifications that you're projecting, which I feel is not the correct way. Because if you see most of the interviews that happen globally, they will also ask you a lot of questions about your personal life as well. What are your areas of interest? How do you spend your free time? And what's your goal or dream in life? I'm not saying you should put that in CV, but these are the questions that are normally asked. So have a very comprehensive kind of CV. Put about moot courts as well. How many moot courts have you done? Okay. Give a gist of what kind of moot court was it, whether you were a researcher or whether you were a mooter. And just in 1 or 2 lines, you can basically, give the entire information about what you have done in that moot court. Same in how you put in your paper publications and all this publications section. Same way you can do it for your moot court as well. Because one of the interns that is currently working with me, she said we have been given a particular moot court competition on the topic of time traveling, which is a very new concept. So if anyone who sees your CV and sees that you have worked on something like that, he would be very intrigued to ask you as to what are the laws, how does it happen, whether this is a superficial concept or whether it can actually happen technologically, maybe 20 years down the line. All those things. So that's also very important. And have complete information, your personal information, like where you have done your schooling from, which school, how good you are in certain languages. So whether you can write it, read it, understand it. Those sections are also very important, because if you are working in certain regions, like in Maharashtra, Marathi is a very important language. If you cannot speak or even understand Marathi, lot of litigating law firms will not even entertain your CV, because the entire work happens in Marathi. So if you do not know that language, that is a barrier for them. So they should know whether you know Marathi or not. So if you are in Orissa, whether you know Odia or not. If you are in Madhya Pradesh, whether you are well versed with Hindi as a language. Because if a South Indian who may not be a very good person or a very good speaker in Hindi will not be able to work in Madhya Pradesh, because वहाँ सिर्फ हिंदी चलती है. So things like that. So your CV needs to be very elaborative, but also very concise. It cannot be 4 pages and 5 pages, because nobody reads that much. जो 40 साल काम किया है उसका CV अगर उतना रहेगा तो भी कोई पढ़ेगा नहीं. तो फिर नए स्टूडेंट्स का कोई क्यों पढ़ेगा? Because they don't have the time. Nobody has the time to entertain all those things. Your CV should be very impressive. And it should be very detailed. However, it also needs to be very concise. You need to figure out the format of it. There is no fixed format. However you want to put the information in that CV in those 2 and 3 pages, use that format. There is no fixed format कि एक template है और ऐसा ही CV बनना चाहिए. ना. Avoid putting your photographs. I always feel that you should not put your photographs, because sorry to say this, but a lot of companies also see how a person looks, because they want to maintain that standard of looks in their system. ये होता है, मेरे साथ भी हुआ है. I was rejected at one place because I was dark in complexion. और मुझे मुंह पे इंटरव्यू में HR ने बोला that you're working in the entertainment industry, we like good looking, smart looking people, and now that company has wrapped up its business and has gone back. So people should not have that approach also. However, you should avoid putting your pictures in your CV. A lot of people say that you should, but I think you should not, because you don't know what the other person who's looking at your CV is thinking about.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. With this, I am concluding the session. Because
Perfect. Any extempo kind of a question? Anybody wants to ask any questions? Then maybe they can put those questions in the comment section and I'll address it. I don't think there's anyone who's putting any questions per se.
No questions yet.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't get your name.
So my name is Aditi. Aditi Das.
Aditi, thank you so much for hosting me.
It's a pleasure, sir. It's a total pleasure. Then I am concluding the session. This session has been totally insightful, and I am sure that each and every viewer will concur with me in this. A huge thanks to you once again, and we are looking forward. Yes, sir. And we are looking forward to commencing more sessions like this in the future and having you in it. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you.